correspondent Liz Bates is in Westminster for us. Liz, there'll be people watching this, students, current students, or perhaps prospective students, who'll be quite concerned, thinking, is the course that I'm on, or the course I'm going to apply for, one of these Mickey Mouse degrees? And yet the government won't say, will they? Certainly haven't yet, which degrees they're talking about.
No, and I think that's potentially a bit of a problem. I think, to some extent we've been sold a bit of a false dream, because this is a policy drive that has been set out with quite a lot of fanfare. The Prime Minister is front and centre of all of this, and setting out in quite forceful terms what he thinks needs to change in the universities sector. But in the end, the process for this, and you didn't see him say it there, but he did say this is for the regulator, and the regulator is independent. This is the government, the Prime Minister, saying to the regulator, the Office for Schools, please will you have a look at this issue? And in the end, that's really what it boils down to. You saw him, Rishi Sunak, set out some of the parameters from the government's perspective. He wants to see the regulator look at degrees that, in his words, have poor quality outcomes, so things like high dropout rates and maybe a high number of graduates that go on to do jobs that are maybe on lower pay than average. But beyond that, we really don't know any more detail of it. We've been asking the Prime Minister spokesperson this morning, are there any particular degrees, any particular universities that are offering particular courses that you would like to name or to pick out? And no, they don't want to do that. They certainly don't want to go down that road. So as it stands, this is the process. They will issue guidance to the regulator. The regulator will investigate and present some preliminary findings over summer. Beyond that, we'll hear more from the regulator, but it could be a couple of years' time. Certainly by the time they put limits potentially on courses or caps on certain courses, it could be 2025, beyond the next general election, and the government won't be forcing them to impose these caps. Again, that will be up to the regulator. So in terms of what the point of all this is, what the Prime Minister is saying is that it's important to keep standards high in the higher education sector, but also to get value for money for students and value for money for taxpayers. There may be a bit of headline grabbing as part of this as well, and trying to create some dividing lines between the Conservative Party and the Labour Party, maybe in the run-up to a by-election. But of course, that's something that is being speculated about in Westminster. But the reality is that we still don't really know the details of this. We'll get a bit more in the House of Commons today, but in the end, it will be up to the regulator to put those plans forward, and we won't be getting them certainly today, but maybe over summer. This will all be rolled out in the next couple of years.